Now I'm going to pull upon a few of the discoveries of quantum physics, and also upon mysticism or metaphysics, which is beyond physics. And I'm going to join them together to give you a picture that is beautiful in its nature, because it's a picture that describes you. In quantum physics, they have discovered that energy and matter is both finite and a wave. And because of this wave-like structure of matter, the matter that makes you up is really a wave. And they have what they call in physics the uncertainty principle, which means that we are uncertain how far that wave goes or where it's at any given time. It stretches out infinitely. And not only do the waves stretch out, they flow together. They create ripple effects that intertwine, and that's the fabric of space-time. You are everywhere. Now you are consciously aware of one point, one time. That's the illusion of the senses. The ultimate reality is you are everywhere within the fabric of space-time. You have access to it in ways that we have not yet realized at this point. But we realize, theoretically and mathematically, that that's very much true. You are everywhere. That's very difficult to comprehend from our state of the five senses, but it's true. And you need to keep that in mind. Now I'm going to draw upon metaphysics. Principles of metaphysics say this, that you not only are everywhere within the brain, within the universe that you occupy, your soul, what makes you up beyond the physical, also is interdimensional, which means the consciousness that makes you up, which is your real self, the real self that is the seer, the perceiver of the universe, has access to shift to other dimensions and other experiences. You may not believe this, but you are shifting in dimensions, in universes, continuously, and you don't even realize it. You are interdimensional. And yes, your body exists on this brain, but there are infinite brains and infinite timelines, and you might want to compare those timelines to brains, or to railroad tracks maybe, and there are infinite numbers of them. This morning I woke up, I went downstairs, I was going to make Eggs Benedict for breakfast, seriously, hollandaise sauce and everything, I know how to do that. So I was going to have Eggs Benedict for breakfast. I got downstairs, I took the eggs out, and then I just decided, you know what, maybe I don't want to go to all this trouble. I think I'm going to have a bowl of cereal. So I took out the granola. Now, there is a reality out there, because there are infinite numbers of universes, where the rod cutter that decided to go ahead and make the Eggs Benedict exists. It does. And there's also the reality that I experienced that says I chose granola. You are making choices all the time, but you're unaware that there are other parts of your soul that decided to make the Eggs Benedict and went ahead on that timeline, on that track. See, at that fork, you decided which universe you wanted to shift your consciousness to, which timeline you wanted to experience. And in reality, because there are infinite numbers of timelines, infinite brains, all occupying the same space and time, interwoven and penetrating in each other, the consciousness, the real you, made a choice, so that the you that you perceive, the ego you, experienced that choice. But the higher you also went along that timeline. And there are so many times that these brains, see, these brains are intertwined, but there are some brains or universes that are closer in vibration to this one. They very much almost resemble this one exactly. And you exist in all of them. Your soul is experiencing everything. That is one reason why a part of your soul could go on a certain choice, make a certain choice, and then experience the pain of that choice. And then the part of you will come back to you, that higher part of you, and say, you don't want to experience that again, I've already done that. And will give you a hunch or an intuitive feeling or a gut feeling that says, I really don't want to go down that road. And so you choose a different path. See, if you would have chosen that path again, it's just being compounded in your soul's experience. we come back as our higher selves in many ways and help ourselves to evolve. We help ourselves. So all of these parallel timelines, all of these multiple dimensions exist simultaneously, and what you are doing at every conscious moment of your ego's perspective is you are shifting tracks with every decision you make, and you're unaware of it. We are interdimensional. You're shifting tracks all the time. You are shifting brains, and that's because what you really are is not matter and energy that is connected to the brain. The true self, the primal thought, I'm going to digress, okay? This is a way you can comprehend who you are beyond the physical. You think of a thought, and maybe you move your hands, maybe you move your body in a certain way like I'm doing now. And that movement is a reaction of the brain, okay? But did it start in the brain? There's a higher part of you that was the first thought that caused the brain to be stimulated, which then reached out to your body. See, your higher self is with you all the time, but it's not your physical body. Your physical body is a tool or a vehicle of the higher self. And that higher self can shift dimensions because it's not tied to any particular physical plane or physical brain or physical universe. You are interdimensional, but not aware of it. Okay? I hope that kind of brings this into perspective. And what I just described is the metaphysical aspect, the beyond the physics of the physics. Okay? The brain aspect and the multiple universe aspect is the physical physics aspect. What I just described as the higher self, the thinker behind the thinker that we cannot tangibly touch, that exists beyond all the universes, is the metaphysics that I was talking about. So together it paints a picture of a self, of a higher self that is experiencing the entirety of the continuum, that is experiencing multiple universes simultaneously. Okay? So I hope I've explained that in a way that you could understand. I love the author Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote Conversations with God. Now, I'm going to digress for a second. If you have not read the trilogy of the Conversations of God book, I thoroughly recommend it. You don't have to believe that this man is really talking to God. Throw that out. Maybe he's channeling, maybe he's not. Who really cares? The profound wisdom that's coming forth from that book is something that, as I read those things, I was going, I knew that. But I didn't consciously know it before, but as I heard it, I go, I knew that. It's like bringing this wisdom from the higher self to the surface. I thoroughly recommend the Conversations with God trilogy. In that trilogy, I believe it's in book 3, he describes an analogy that helped me to comprehend this better. Don't take the analogy literal, please. Just understand it's an analogy. Alright, a good but not literal, but a good analogy of this space-time continuum might be compared to a video game, the programming of a video game. Okay, now if you've played like Super Mario Brothers or any type of video game, at each moment you're making a choice. Okay? You're choosing a different timeline with each moment you make in that video game. Each choice. But in reality, every choice is within the programming of the video game. Every timeline and every choice is within the continuum of the universe. Within one of these intertwined brains that you are always shifting. Now, how this applies to conscious creation and magic is that as you become aware that the timeline or the creation that you desire to experience is already there within the fabric of the continuum, you are able to use that